Hear me out, because today's topic does not explode in headlines. It erodes quietly, systematically, and it kills without ever raising its voice. This week, the shift tightened. It was not announced to the public. It was not debated in open forums, but executed through policy language, reimbursement tables, and payer adjustments that most people will never read. Dialysis, one of the most life-sustaining therapies in modern medicine, is now being squeezed through a financial filter. Not based on human need, based on justification. Every treatment questioned. Every access procedure scrutinized. Every missed session tracked, coded, and translated into financial consequence. So let me strip this down to truth. Dialysis patients are not perfect. They miss treatments. They struggle with transportation. They battle depression. They live in poverty. They get tired physically, mentally, and spiritually. That is reality. But the system is now treating inconsistency as a liability. And liability gets penalized. So what happens next? Clinics are now no longer just healing environments. They are becoming financial battlegrounds where every decision carries weight. Is this treatment reimbursable? Can we justify this frequency? Will this trigger a penalty? And here is where it turns dangerous. Because when care becomes conditional, patients become negotiable. Fluid builds, potassium rises, toxins accumulate. Not because we don't know what to do, but because the system is quietly asking, can you prove they deserve it? Let that one sink in with you for just a second. Because now we step into the shoes of the front line. The nurse, the tech, the clinician who knows this patient needs treatment. But standing behind them is an invisible force. Metrics, audits, reimbursement thresholds, administrative pressure. And now they are trapped between two fires. Do what's right for the patient, or do what keeps the system off their back. That is not healthcare. That is psychological warfare. And it does not just break patients, it breaks providers. Because moral injury does not come from not caring. It comes from being forced to choose when you do care. And this is how it unfolds. A patient misses treatments, flagged. Clinic pressured, tighten criteria, interventions. Delayed, complications rise. Hospitalizations increase and mortality follows. There's no alarms and there's no breaking news, just a slow, controlled bleed. And the system will call it optimization, efficiency, appropriate utilization. But I'm going to call it for what it is. It's controlled neglect disguised as policy. And here is the line in the sand. This is where weak systems hope no one speaks. Because it is complex, because it is buried, because it is easy to ignore. But this is exactly where leadership is tested. You do not wait for permission to protect life. You do not dilute clinical judgment to satisfy a spreadsheet. And you do not allow financial frameworks to override psychological reality. Dialysis is not optional. It is survival. So when the system starts to tighten its grip, we do not adapt to it. We expose it, we document it, we speak it, and we unify around it. Because once silence sets in, the outcomes are already decided. This is not about reimbursement. This is about lives long enough to argue about it. The Nursing Special Forces Association positions this clear. When policy begins to quietly determine who receives life, sustaining care, that is not a system. That is a threat. And threats do not get negotiated with. They get confronted. This is where we draw the line in the sand, not loudly, not emotionally, but with precision. Because while the system counts margins, we count lives.